Wagunda Odede, State Department for Public Investment and Asset Management. And number 2, Dr. Boniface Makoha, State Department for Economic Planning. Minority Leader.
Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me an opportunity. Madam Speaker, I stand to support the motion by the Departmental Committee on Finance, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank also the chairman for doing a thorough job with his committee, because the report that they have brought on those 2 nominees, Madam Speaker, are factual. Madam Speaker, Cyril Odede Wagunda, or Cyril Wagunda Odede, comes from my county, from Migori County, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank His Excellency the President for appointing Mr. Wagunda as a Principal Secretary, Madam Speaker. He is the first Jasuna to become a Principal Secretary. Can you imagine? Since independence. Jasuna is where I come from, Mr. Speaker. The first Jasuna to become a Principal Secretary, Madam Speaker. I can't be more proud than today, Madam Speaker, that in my life, as a sitting member of Parliament, Jasuna now is a Principal Secretary. Jasuna East or West, together they are called Suna, both of them. Madam Speaker, Mr. Odede is a distinguished career civil servant. He has served this country at the Kenya Revenue Authority for the last almost 30 years without any problem, without any matter, without any finger raised about him on issues of integrity, on issues of disobedience or anything at his place of work, Madam Speaker. These are the kind of Kenyans, Madam Speaker, when they are given a second opportunity to serve the nation, they will serve this country diligently, faithfully, and with honesty. Madam Speaker, this is a man I can vouch for because I have known him for many years. He's a man who has served this country in a previous capacity as a Deputy Commissioner in the Kenya Revenue Authority, Madam Speaker, and he a man who has all the qualifications, as has been said by the chair of the committee. They have checked everywhere, and they have realized, and they have come to confirm that he's fit for the position that he has been appointed to. Madam Speaker, the State Department that he has been taken, the State Department for Investment and Asset Management, is also equally very important State Department that our country needed. It's one of the new State Department that has been created now. And as you're aware, this country has many assets that need to be revived, for the benefit of Kenyans, Madam Speaker. Assets that some of them have become malfunctioning, others have become dead assets. We don't even have a proper register of the country's assets, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, as Migori people, whom I represent in this House, today we are very happy that His Excellency the President has given an opportunity, one of us, to serve this country. And Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to say that Kenyans will get the services that they need through that man called Mr. Cyril Odede, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Cyril Odede Wagunda also is a social worker. I remember when he was at the Kenya Revenue Authority, he has done a lot of social work at Migori, Madam Speaker. He has been a chair of many schools, boards, and he has helped the community to the extent where we thought that if he is given another opportunity, he can do a better job, Madam Speaker. And I am happy that the appointing authority, in their own wisdom, also realized and pointed out that this kind of person, if given an opportunity, will serve the country at a higher level. Madam Speaker, this is the way we want to move our country, where people who have never thought that they will serve this country, these positions of principal secretaries, cabinet secretaries, and other presidential appointees, are given an opportunity. Because, Madam Speaker, there are people I know, like this Cyril, who had lost hope. They never thought the national government will ever see them, where they will have been rotting in Migori, Madam Speaker, with this kind of knowledge that they have, where the committee now has confirmed that these people will reform these places. This is the kind of, I want to thank the majority leader, Madam Speaker, because he has played a key role in making sure that this country moves to this direction it is moving to. He has been consulting me as the minority leader and asking me how many experts are remaining. Madam Speaker, we are in thorough consultations with the majority leader. Thorough consultations that anytime he thinks there's an expert required, I normally get his phone calls, even 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. He asks me, Do you think there's an expert in ODM who can help issues in the government, Madam Speaker? But a majority leader continue with that kind of mindset, because who knows? Who knows? In the near future, you might become our president. Who knows? Only God knows, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I want to thank him also because he has shown leadership in that line. And I am happy that we are going to that direction as a country where every Kenyan feels he has a chance to serve his nation or her nation, Madam Speaker. Every Kenyan feels that he can serve in any position in this country. Where we are not being told you are a shareholder, you're not a shareholder, you are what, you are not. That nonsense has ended in this country, Madam Speaker, with this kind of appointment. When this list of the new principal secretaries came out, Madam Speaker, it covered the whole republic. There was a appointee from the coast, Kilifi, from Migori, from Kisumu, from Samburu, from Kajiado, from Mount Kenya, everyone. We are passing here a list that has all faces from all the regions of this country. That is the kind of nation we want going forward, Madam Speaker. Because look, Sona people are not small people. That's where I come from. And they have never been a permanent secretary since independence. You know, there are some communities here that when they speak, they say, oh, we have been forgotten. Me, I just keep quiet. They don't know that even ours have been forgotten. We have been in the trenches of opposition. That's why I think we have been segregated for all and discriminated for all this time of period. But now, finally, things have changed. Things have changed because people who never thought they can serve this country are now being put forward to serve this country. And that can only happen under leadership of the broad-based, not those other leaderships that were there before, because they have forgotten other Kenyans. Madam Speaker, I want to send the majority leader to His Excellency the President to convey our message that he's on the right direction in terms of bringing Kenyans together. This is the way to go. And we will not relent until every Kenyan feels that he's a Kenyan like any other Kenyan. Not like before where a man who used to come to his office at 5 a.m. in the morning used to remind us that, oh, you're not shareholders. Which shares? When did Kenya become a company where people bought shares? When did Kenya become a limited liability company where you're judged by the number of shares you have? Huh? Madam Speaker, I want to say that this is the way a nation is built. This is how we can have a united and cohesive nation. When I find a Jasuna on the table, it's when I know Kenya is one. When you just only people who can speak in one language are the ones who are running in government. That cannot happen anymore. So, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, the committee, thank you very much. We will support on our side as the minority any Kenyan. We will not mind where he comes from, which religion he belongs to, which county, so long as he can deliver and provide services to Kenyans. I am promising you on the floor of this House, we will support him. And we will make sure he is given an opportunity. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And also rise to support this motion for the approval of the two cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, not cabinet secretaries, but maybe in the future they will be cabinet secretaries. Mr. Cyril Wagunda Odede and Dr. Boniface Makoha, both of which the chair of the Finance Committee has very well elaborated how well they qualify for these positions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to agree with the leader of minority that indeed it is important to recognize that when a government is formed, it is formed on behalf of the people of Kenya to serve all the people of Kenya. And therefore, anybody within the boundaries of the country who is qualified and a Kenyan can serve in any position. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, those of us who are fundis believe in the broad-based government, and not just the broad-based government because it brings us together, but because it also harnesses and creates synergy of expertise from across the political divide. That you do not need to discriminate against anybody on the basis of where they come from. You've had Mr. Cyril Wagunda Odede is Jasuna, somebody from Suna. And if for the first time since independence, we have a Jasuna as a principal secretary, that tells you then the country is moving in the right direction, Honorable Speaker. I look forward also to the day very soon. I know we have had principal secretaries from Kikuyu constituency.
But not from Gashie.
And also some from Gashie in Kiambu. And I look forward to a time in the near future where we'll have a cabinet secretary from Gashie, yes. Honorable Speaker, in Kiamba constituency, yes. Of Kiambu County. But Honorable Speaker, allow me also to speak to the two state departments that have been created, or rather this new one on the State Department of Public Investments and Asset Management. Honorable Speaker, and to speak to Mr. Odede and tell him he is coming into a State Department where he is being appointed at the right time. And I say at the right time, Honorable Speaker, because this country is coming from a backdrop where we are implementing IMF-led reforms that were more tax-based. Honorable Speaker, following the events of last year, we have to consciously now move away from tax-based reforms in the country, Honorable Speaker, and balance this with investments, and more so investments where you can be able to raise money to carry out public investments without necessarily going back to tax Kenyans. And the Public-Private Partnership Act that we enacted in this House, Honorable Speaker, almost 3 years ago, has existed in our books, but we have been extremely slow in rolling out public-private partnerships in this country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, where you come from in Gilgil, you know on a Friday and a long weekend like this one, people take hours to get to Nakuru, a distance of less than 200 kilometers. That should take you less than an hour.
Some spend there, actually.
Yeah, people have slept on the road between Kinale and Gilgil. Those going to the western parts of Kenya over Christmas, some had to turn away and come back to Nairobi because they couldn't make it. Those who could not afford to fly or use the train. And yet they had planned to travel up country. But it is because we have had challenges with doing these roads and expanding our infrastructure in a way that we will do it without necessarily hurting Kenyans. An opportunity lies, and Cyril must know that he has a golden opportunity to unlock the huge potential that we have to implement public investments using public-private partnerships. Correct. And I'm not just talking about the Nakuru, Rironi, Nakuru, Mau Summit, all the way to probably Malaba, dual carriage, and making it an expressway like the Nairobi Expressway. There are many opportunities. Honorable Speaker, the investments that we are seeing at Bomas of Kenya through PPPs, there are many opportunities to implement such projects and position our country in a way that we'll be able to attract even tourists who are coming for conferencing, not just getting to the game reserves, Honorable Speaker. Because, let me not use what I was going to use, but our neighboring countries, Honorable Speaker, and allow me to give the example of Rwanda, which is a much smaller economy than ours, not as well connected to the rest of the world as Nairobi, was going to overtake Nairobi in terms of conferencing and conventions, Honorable Speaker. But investments that we are seeing at the Bomas of Kenya will unlock now this potential, attract more people, more business coming into Nairobi for conferencing and conventions, and also investments into the country, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, I want to tell Cyril he has his job well cut out for him. We expect that this new state department will have a paradigm shift from tax-based reforms now to investment-based reforms in terms of being able to raise resources from the private sector to be able to unlock our potential in terms of infrastructure investments. Even the SGR, Honorable Speaker, the JKA airport. I know many people do not believe it, but JKIA remains an embarrassment to this country to a large extent. A huge embarrassment.
It's a bus park.
I hear the minority leader saying it looks like a bus park, like Machakos County bus park. Not Machakos County, but the Machakos Country bus station in Nairobi. And I say it is an embarrassment, Honorable Speaker, because for those who have traveled out of this country, you have seen the level of investments in even within our region, in international airports. Rwanda, Tanzania, countries that we are priding ourselves that we are ahead of them, have been overtaking us with public investments. I was shocked, Honorable Speaker, the last time I traveled to Istanbul. What used to be Atatürk Airport, I was told has been decommissioned, and they have built a brand new airport within a period of 2 years.
Under PPP.
Under PPP by a Turkish company. And I want to tell you, Honorable Speaker, it is possible even here to build brand new international airports, not just JKIA. It is possible to have an international airport in the Mara, to have tourists come from their home countries and fly direct into the Mara, or to Samburu County. I see the Honorable Asuda smiling broadly when she hears the Mara and Samburu, because she knows the potential that is there in Samburu, in the Mara, can be unlocked by us being able to take tourists directly there. But we will not be able to do this if we depend on taxes and raising taxes from Kenyans to be able to implement these public investments. But Cyril and the officers at the National Treasury who will now come into this new State Department have that opportunity to unlock that potential for us. I want to encourage him. Do not get into the National Treasury and get sucked into the ordinary National Treasury bureaucracy that we have seen over the years. Because there are people who have served in this PPP directorate over the years, but have not been able to implement a single PPP project. We have been speaking about privatization of our sugar companies, Honorable Speaker. This is the opportunity to unlock the huge potential in Western Kenya and other parts of Nyanza and the coast that are doing sugarcane farming using public-private partnerships and privatization of these companies. This is the work that is very well cut out for Mr. Cyril Wagunda Odede. For Boniface Makoha, in the State Department of Economic Planning, this is where NGCDF that we are speaking about resides, in this State Department of Economic Planning. Honorable Speaker, I have seen a former Speaker of this House tweeting, saying that the NGCDF is illegal. And let me read, Honorable Speaker, because, you know, some of these things are very shameful and embarrassing. And, you know, I would hate to spend time here to castigate a former Speaker, because you're also there, Madam Speaker, as a Speaker today. But when you say NGCDF is a corrupt, illegal, and unconstitutional slush fund to unjustly enrich the MPs, their families and cronies, and should therefore be scrapped, yet you have served in this House as a Speaker, presiding over 349 members of that House, and also strongly defended that fund. Well, you have served in this House, Honorable Speaker. But today, because you are annoyed, because we have just tabled and given notice of motion to appoint a member of Parliament of Mbere North as the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, if you are annoyed with that, please spare the rest of the country your anger, spare the rest of the country your bile. If you sat here as a Speaker for 10 years and justify the existence of NGCDF, but simply because today you are not a Cabinet Secretary and your member of Parliament has been promoted as a Cabinet Secretary, now you start taking your bile to the rest of the country and the rest of the House. I mean, it's embarrassing, it's shameful, it's uncalled for, and I would advise the culprits to cool down, relax. There is life beyond public service. Yes. The day any one of us is not a member of Parliament here, or you are not in a position as a Cabinet Secretary or as a Speaker, Honorable Speaker, or even as a Chief, there is life beyond that. You can graze your goats, you can graze your cattle, you can rear your pigs like me. Yeah. Those who are doing poultry, like William Ruto, can also do poultry. And they will all be happy. Honorable Speaker, you do not have to be bitter with your son. You know, from one end of the mouth, you seem to be speaking for your son, who is, I think, 50 years old. From the other end of the mouth, you are so bitter with another son of yours from Mbere North who has been appointed as a Cabinet Secretary, that you are now deriding the entire House and a system of NGCDF that has worked for the last almost 25 years. Honorable Speaker, this affront against NGCDF, Dr. Boniface Makoha must ensure that NGCDF not only continues to exist, but is well resourced. Because NGCDF is not for members of parliament. I can very well do my representation, my oversight, and my legislative work as a member of parliament without NGCDF. But I know there are children in Kikuyu constituency where I come from who would not otherwise be in school today, why not for NGCDF? I know there are children from Kanyanjara Primary School when I was elected a member of parliament in 2013 who had mud walled and timber classrooms in their schools that had no floors. Children in Kikuyu today pride themselves that they're in better public schools than academies, private academies, because of investments done by NGCDF. And it is not because of their member of parliament. It is because NGCDF, the Act gave very clear guidelines as to how procurement is done, how projects are implemented, using an independent NGCDF committee elected at the local level with representation, having project implementation committees at the local level. Honorable Speaker, how I wish, as we implement devolution, the last 10 years of devolution, Honorable Speaker, how I wish Kenyans would see the work of devolution as they see the work of NGCDF at their localities, Honorable Speaker. How I wish that the County Governments Act was as elaborate as the NGCDF Act is elaborate. And therefore, I want to encourage also Dr. Boniface Makoha to serve Kenyans with diligence, to look at the workings of NGCDF and even see how we can further improve this NGCDF and propose amendments for us to be able to legislate so that NGCDF continues to serve the people of Kenya as it has served them over the past 20 years, Honorable Speaker. And with those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support and wish Mr. Cyril Wagunda Odede and Dr. Boniface Makoha all the best in their service to the nation and go forth, serve the people of Kenya.
Very well. Dr. Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to take this opportunity to sincerely congratulate the two gentlemen who have been appointed to serve in the two departments, the National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, let me also sincerely thank the Committee of Planning and National Finance and National Planning for having reviewed or vetted the nominees and approved for their appointment. Honorable Speaker, for the very first time, Honorable Speaker, and I want my minority leader to listen, let me also applaud the move to broaden the inclusion of all spheres of people in the government of today. Honorable Speaker, for the election of 2022, very many of us were so apprehensive that we thought that Kenya belonged to only a few people, the rest of us were spectators. Yes, we might never have signed the shareholding agreement, but nevertheless we pay taxes, so we deserved to be considered for all that is there to be done. Honorable Speaker, it's also a big lesson to any incoming administration. At times, not all the political supporters, not all those that you hang around during campaigns have got the competence to allow you and enable you deliver on your mandate. I do believe that the President Ruto was really let down by his first cabinet and his first administration that led to the Gen Z riots because of poor decision making and poor advice. I just hope now, Honorable Speaker, the new team that comes in will be able to really see Kenya in a holistic manner and come up with the policies and measures to ensure that this economy takes off. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, in a typical working arrangement, the State Department for Planning is the engine for economic development. It's the engine for social progress. They're the people who plan. They're people who think, who burn the midnight oil. They're the think tank. Whatever they plan is what goes to be implemented by Treasury and all other departments. Honorable Speaker, we just hope and pray the current administration will allow this department to play its role. Honorable Speaker, we have nostalgic memory of some of the best brains in this country. Tom Mboya, Professor Nyang', who headed this department, and during those times, Honorable Speaker, this is the time when the country recorded tremendous economic growth and economic development. It is high time the Treasury Mandarin, as the majority leader has said, they allow the new team to infuse new energy, to infuse new thinking in the way things are done in the National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, all of us knows that the better or the bottom-up economic program is fledgling, is flailing, is not meeting the targets that we're supposed to do. It is high time the Department of Economic Planning and the entire government relooks at the value chain they have talked about passionately, without funding, without innovation, and without invention. We're not going to get anywhere. It's therefore I call upon these two gentlemen to work very well. Honorable Speaker, it's an agreed fact that the government alone will not be able to undertake some of the major infrastructure projects we want in this country to spur economic growth. It's therefore important that we embrace the public-private partnership that the law has been regularly amended to align it with modern thinking. Honorable Speaker, I would even ask, probably they could even put in a performance contracting. Tell whoever is in that department, if you don't properly and successfully deliver PPP within 1 year, then you have no business sitting there. For example, if you are employed as a transaction advisor and you cannot advise for a transaction to succeed, then you have no business at that particular point. I just want to ask Cyril that that's where the problem lies. Yes, PPP is good, but I want to urge him to avoid the temptation to allow for private solicitation to guide decisions on whom to award a PPP contract. Honorable Speaker, the improvement of JKIA is a welcome idea, but the Adan deal was a deal that was sticky from the word go to the end. We must follow the law in procuring the process. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me as I conclude to sincerely thank the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, because when chance was to broaden the government, broaden, deepen, and tighten the government, he reached out to all parts of ODM stronghold and said, give us names of experts. Honorable Speaker, I can tell you, Busia produces the best. It has never failed to produce the best. Busia produces the best. If you want to have the best minds in this country to help you run any government, any institution, it is from Busia. Honorable Speaker, for example, Honorable Speaker, if you come to Funyula constituency, and this has trended all over this country, and you throw a stone, most likely the stone will land on a head of either master's holders or a PhD holders. And that is Busia for you. And that's why I have 100% confidence that Dr. Makoha will deliver, if he's given the space, the latitude, and the wherewithal, and the resources to deliver. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, Kenya needs to take off. We have stagnated, we have stalled. We hope this new injection, the blood we are injecting, is not going to be poisoned so that they become ruthless, leaderless, and clueless to deliver. As I conclude, for the people of Busia, we have our share, but we still demand more. And I beseech, I fall before the minority leader, when anything else comes up, please don't forget the people of Busia, because they are the biggest ardent supporters of Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. And if wherever he works with, and we can talk to us, give us what we want, we will deliver much more to this cause. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support and I wish them the best. Let them deliver to the people of Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let us remain in Busia for a while. Honorable Manyo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Indeed, Busia produces the best, and we will prove that. I am so proud of the nominees who have been tabled. Who could have known that anybody from a village called Sierra, in a location called Lupida, in a ward called Buhayo North, which Nambale